At the end of another Premier League season, Arsenal fans are left once again stung by Manchester City coming in second place, and it's starting to get old, and obviously there's a lot of anger to go around. But the anger shouldn't be pointed at money or 115 charges. It should be pointed at your own manager, and we're going to talk about why here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. In a title race this close, it can boil down to one game, and that game was played on March 31st, 2024, when Arsenal decided to play scared. That was the difference this season, and not anything else. So we're going to talk about why that is, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get in that comment section. I know you're not going to want to hear a lot of what I have to say, particularly Arsenal fans, but it's the truth anyway, so get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter at PitchsidePub, and check out the website, pitchsidepub.com. So I want to go on record as saying a couple things before I get into this. One, I think Mikel Arteta is a fantastic manager. He should not even be remotely close to fired. He is as good as you could have right now in Arsenal, for Arsenal, in the Premier League. He's fantastic. It doesn't mean he's flawless. It doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes. But this is not a massive knock on Arteta. He's a good manager, and you are lucky to have him, Arsenal fans. Additionally, you obviously see the Manchester City jersey on the wall behind me. You know where my allegiances lie. However, I have been on record before, and I will do it again right now, as saying, if the 115 charges stick, if they are proven, Manchester City should be penalized, they should be charged, they should be convicted. Call it what you will. You want to send them down to League Two? Fine. If that's what they deserve, then that's the punishment they deserve, and I'll go down to League Two with them, and I'll follow them all the way back up. I'm not saying they're innocent. I'm saying I don't know enough about it, to be honest, and I've researched it, and it is just very, very complicated. So I'm not saying that that is something we should just ignore. I understand why it is a relevant part of the discussion in this title. I don't think it needs to be brought up every time you talk about Manchester City winning, because regardless of how they got there, there are a lot of clubs spending a lot of money and a lot of teams probably doing it illegally, and yet they're still not winning 4 in a row. So I don't think it is the only reason they're winning. And if you are simplifying it that far and saying that the only reason Manchester City won is because they cheat or they have unlimited money or they cook the books or whatever, you're not paying close enough attention to what happened on the pitch in the last 4 years, because it has been truly remarkable. And maybe they used some advantages to get there that other teams didn't have. That's for the courts to decide. And if there is a punishment, go ahead, punish them. They will have deserved it. They will still have my love and support. So I'm not negating that. But at the end of the day, at the end of the season, where we are now, despite what you call unlimited funds, which is a misnomer, but despite obviously having a lot of money to work with, and despite possibly having cheated years ago, and despite everything else, Arsenal, you were right there with them. You had them. You had them. And let's not act like Arsenal is some upstart club, right? You have spent a lot of money yourself over the past few years, and rightly so. You deserve to do that. The Cronkies are loaded. They're not poor. They should be spending as much money as the rules allow. And if you want to say, well, we followed the rules and you didn't, okay. At the end of the day, with the best 11 on the pitch, that doesn't make that much difference. Where it makes a difference is in the depth. If you want to say that's why Manchester City can compete for trebles and quadruples and compete on all these different fronts because they have more depth, okay, I'll give you that. Or why they can sign Calvin Phillips and get it wrong and survive. Okay, sure. That's the difference between Manchester City and Wolves or Luton. But Arsenal, you've got plenty of money, and to your credit, you were right there, neck and neck, all season. So clearly the money is not the difference maker in this battle. The money is not why you have come in second for the second year in a row. The difference is very obvious, and it took place when Manchester City and Arsenal went head-to-head on March 31st. Arsenal was in the driver's seat, 1 point ahead in the table, going head-to-head with the team they needed to have a loss at some point. And we were in that stretch where everybody was waiting for, and it turned out to be correct again, where they come to that second half of the season and Manchester City is just not going to lose. And they are unflappable. Except you didn't have to rely on everybody else to do it. You had your chance. It was there for the taking. You lined up your best 11 against their best 11. If you want to win a title, you have to beat the champs. And it was there. It's not like they didn't have the opportunity. But Mikel Arteta chose to play scared. And you can't beat the champions if you play scared, if you don't try to beat them yourself. Mikel Arteta put his team out there, sat them back, accepted 27% possession and only 2 shots on target the whole game, and said, we cannot beat you. We are happy to play for a draw. And they got their draw. But as Rodri pointed out after the game during the championship celebration yesterday, that was the point where Manchester City knew they had him. That was it. That was the mentality, because City never would have done that. And it's not like this is something that other teams have done. In those battles with Manchester City and Liverpool in the heart of the Klopp era, before these past 2 years when they had to rebuild a little bit, at the heart of Sadio Mane and Mo Salah and Firmino and these great Liverpool teams, the ones that won and the ones that lost by 1 point. When Man City and Liverpool played, Liverpool was not scared. Jurgen Klopp, for all of his strengths and weaknesses, was never scared of Pep Guardiola. He was never scared of Manchester City. He was never scared of oil money or big funds or possible cheating or anything else. He said, we're going to gang impress the hell out of you, and we're going to try and get you out of your comfort zone. And you know what? It worked a few times. Some of those head-to-head battles were epic. And they ended up as draws, but they were wild 2-2 draws, and they weren't because Liverpool was scared. They were because you had 2 great teams on the pitch, and it was a great end product. The entertainment value was awesome, but nobody could look back and say, I wish we'd tried something different. No, 2 great teams went head-to-head, my strength versus your strength. Let's see who comes out on top. That's not what happened. Arsenal showed up, they sat back, and they said, we think we can hold you off as long as we don't try to score ourselves. And yeah, that's a strategy. You got your point, but you lost your title. And that was the turning point. There's really nowhere else to look. They didn't go off and beat City themselves, and then they said, we got 2 more months. I hope somebody else takes care of our business for you. Well, that's why you lost. It's not 115 charges. It's not oil money. It's not anything else. It's because when push came to shove, your team did not step up and try to take care of business yourself. You didn't try to beat the best team on the pitch when you had the chance. And I feel bad lecturing Arsenal fans for this because it's not their fault. I imagine most Arsenal fans were watching that game screaming at Mikel Arteta saying, get the ball up the pitch, let's attack, let's go. I would have been beyond frustrated, and I'd possibly be calling for Mikel Arteta's head, which should not happen, but I would be that mad because that was a frustrating game to watch from a Man City standpoint. We had the ball the whole damn time, so I can't imagine how frustrating that was for Arsenal fans for all the build-up to that game, and you could see that this was the opportunity. This was the chance to expand the lead and to go up 4 points and to control your destiny. That was the chance to control your destiny and not need somebody else to do your dirty work for you. And Mikel Arteta lined his troops up and said, don't even try. And that is what would keep me awake at night as an Arsenal fan. It's not the charges. The charges will sort themselves out. They'll get charged, they won't get charged, they'll get punished, they won't get punished. I don't know. We don't have any control over it. It should already be resolved. It's ridiculous that it's still hanging over the heads of everything we're talking about here, and it has this dark cloud over the Premier League for going on 2 seasons. And I get the frustration about that, Arsenal fans. I'm not telling you shouldn't be mad about that. I'm not saying you're wrong to point that out, but that's not why you lost. You did not lose the Premier League because of 115 charges. You did not lose the Premier League because of oil money. You lost the Premier League because your manager was too scared to try and beat Manchester City. You want to come at the king, you got to do it yourself, and they refused to do it. They wanted to let somebody else do their dirty work for them, and it didn't get done, and they found themselves chasing a team that wasn't going to give them an inch. And that's what it boils down to. It's really hard to find another reason why this turned out the way it did. You go back to March 31st, you look at that pathetic 0-0 draw, and it tells the story. One team was scared, the other wasn't, and the team that wasn't scared won the Premier League. It's as simple as that. Get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. I know I'm going to get comments on the charges. I hear you. I hear the charges. That's different. That's a different conversation. That once the 11 lined up against the other 11, those charges don't matter. The money didn't matter. You have a talented squad, Arsenal. You have an incredibly talented squad and a wealthy squad, a squad that costs a lot of money. Money is not why you lost this competition. Fear is. But get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can leave some comments on Twitter as well at Pitchside Pub. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button for me down below. Hit the like button. Turn your notifications on. And of course, check out the website, pitchsidepub.com. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.